Hello, Sable Truffles Labradoodle puppy parents. This is your week 4 litter update from Isle Doodles. And as you can see, we're having a bit of a feeding frenzy here with the puppies and Juniper. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. First of all, we're going to ask you to please excuse any sounds of coughing and sneezing in the background. Reynold has a bad cold, so you may hear him from time to time. But in today's video, we're going to be following a slightly different format. This is usually when we start to speak to you about desensitization and socialization for your Labradoodle puppy. And what we're going to do today is give you a little bit of a live example of what happens when we're actually doing that process. So we're going to show you part of how we desensitize your puppy. And then we're also going to tell you a little bit about each of the puppies. We'll give you a general update on what's been going on for the past week. We'll hope that you'll be able to hear us instead of just Mr. Mouthy Pirate. This is our communicator. And we're going to talk a little bit about what Pirate's communication skills are teaching us about the puppies. Hi, I'm Claire from Isle Labradoodles, and these Australian Labradoodle puppies are 4 weeks old. Now, at 4 weeks, one of the things that we are going to be doing is their second round of worming. Now, if you didn't know, all puppies are born with worms, and that's not because they're living in a dirty environment. It's not because their mom is unhealthy or any of these things. It's because all mama dogs have a worm that is dormant until they get pregnant, and then once they're pregnant, that worm is activated, and so that's generally passed on to the puppies. Now, we deworm our moms prior to them giving birth, and of course we deworm them after they give birth as well. But we follow a protocol that's worked for us since 1981, where we deworm the puppies when they're 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and then again the week before they go home to you. And we use a very mild wormer so that when we are doing that when they're just 2 weeks old, it's not upsetting their immune system to any great degree. Now, do we know if the puppies have worms? No, we don't. We're not running fecals when they're 2 weeks old because at that time we aren't really even seeing any fecal matter because mom's cleaning it all up. But we want to be sure we're erring on the safe side and making sure that any parasites are looked after. Pirate is very keen on having his starring role. He wants to make sure you know he's here. So here is Pirate giving kisses. He is a very affectionate as well as loud puppy. You'll notice nobody else is making any noise. You'll hear Pirate throughout the video, I'm quite sure. Yeah. Okay, go see your mom. Just be quiet for a sec. We can distract him, hopefully, for a few minutes. So that's why we worm the puppies every 2 weeks. And then the last worming treatment we give them just before they go home to you is a different type of product. It is a little bit more robust. The puppies' immune systems are a little bit more developed at that point, and they're better able to tolerate it. It also is good to change things up because sometimes parasites can become resistant to one particular type of medication over time. So that's what we're doing in terms of the health for the puppies physically. Now mentally, just before we show you how we do desensitization, because I don't want the puppies to be nursing while we're doing that, let's talk about Pirate. You heard him a lot last time. You're hearing him now. And I did have an email sort of saying that, well, we would really like to have a quiet puppy. And totally understand the request for that. There is a particular reason for that. Sometimes you are living in a condo and you don't want the puppy who's the communicator. But what does that tell us about Pirate's temperament? What are we learning about him? Well, he is the communicator. So he is extremely tuned in to us and everything that's going on around him. But because he's a baby still, he hasn't figured out what the appropriate response is. All he knows how to do is use his voice, and he uses his voice a lot. So it's really important that you remember that going forward, When your dog growls, for instance, people always tend to go, oh, no, don't do that, shush, hush. And lots of people would think we should be telling Pirate to shush up. Right? Should we tell you to be shushy? But that's like when you're hurt and you're crying, or if you're asking for help, being told to be quiet and being ignored. So dogs growl as a warning signal. This is when they're telling you, whoa, I have had enough, I need some space, I'm afraid, whatever it is that's going on that they are trying to communicate to you. And the last thing you want to do is to be silencing that voice. Now, when your dogs are older, if somebody rings the doorbell or knocks at the door, for instance, then you want to let them let you know, yep, somebody's here, be on alert, be aware, and then you want them to stop. And you want them to go back to their place and sit quietly while you go and attend to someone at the door. Don't expect that to happen in the first year of your puppy's life. It may very well, it's quite likely it will, but don't expect that to happen. They're still young, they're still learning. It takes a long time to understand what the appropriate response is to something. It also takes time for your puppy to be mature enough to have that inner confidence to feel they don't need to continue to tell you what their alarm is about, or worrying about who's at the door and if everybody's going to be safe. So really what we've got here in Pirate is a puppy who's very, very tuned in to his people, to his environment, to everything that's happening. And he's trying very hard to share how he feels. And he wants everybody to know how he feels. He certainly wears his heart on his sleeve, don't you, buddy boy? Yes, I love you so much. Your dogs do love me too. Is that what you're saying? You love me? I love you too. Now we're going to just pick the food up again. There was a little bit of a glimpse as to what their solid food looks like. You can see it leaves quite a mess on the pee pads. It leaves quite a mess on them, but they are eating out of the pan really well. That pan that you just saw is the one that they've had since breakfast. So they are eating quite a bit of the solid food and giving Juniper a bit of a break. You'll see now even in Junie's posture here, you'll see how she's lying and her stomach is flat to the ground. That's because she doesn't have any milk left in the milk bar. She knows that. They've had enough, and so she's not really offering it to them as readily as she would before. Now she'll open herself up again here, let them go and find that out for themselves. But she doesn't want them to be yanking on her, starting to really pull when there's nothing there. So she likes to be with her puppies because she likes to play. As you can see, she's playing there a little bit with Blue Collar. Mostly she's interested in eating what they left over of their food. You'd think it was something really gourmet that they're eating, but you know how it is, the grass is always greener. So we'll probably see Juniper leave them now and just walk out, or she might stay in just because I'm in here. Usually when one of us is in here with the puppies, then Juniper will come in as well. Hey Pirate, are you very talkative? We're going to get Pirate over to Reynolds just to get him out of the way for a sec, give him something else to do. Now, one thing we do want to do is we don't want him to be getting all amped up so that he's hysterical. We don't want him working himself into a frenzy. So when he does start to over-communicate, if you will, we will take him for a timeout, distract him, and give him something else to think about. This is also showing him that we're here, we're the ones that are providing safety. Now, if you see over here, you can see these three now are having a little bit of a play session. You'll hear the growling. Lots of ferocious growls. Now, this sounds like they're having a great big fight and something terrible is happening, when really that's not what's happening at all. All that the puppies are doing is establishing their place in the group. Who's the toughest? Who's number one? Who's at the bottom? And right now at this age, that is changing all the time. And now you see they're all going after Juniper again here. They're trying to get some more milk out of her, even though there's nothing there. Except for, look who's with me, little green collar. He says, yep, I already know that the milk bar is empty. And now Juniper has left. She's actually gone out the doggy door. She says, oh, that's enough of those kids for me. So Juniper is removing herself quite regularly from the puppies. Now we're going to bring Pirate back into the action. He'll probably scream again. And what we're going to do next is I'm going to have Reynold go over and turn on the playlist we have of barking dogs. It's going to start off at a fairly soft level, and we're going to increase the volume, keep an eye on what the puppies are doing. So you can hear that in the background. And Reynold will keep turning that up. I'm going to stop talking. Can you turn it up a bit more now, Reynold? And a little bit more. And one more time. So it's quite loud. Okay, that's good. You can turn it off now. There you go. So that's just a short episode of what we do. So what I'm doing while that's happening is I'm providing them with security. I'm not leaving them on their own when that's happening. I'm making sure that I'm here. Okay, Pirate's calling for Reynold again. We're going to let Reynold hang on to him. He's got to do double duty here, try to move the camera and hang on to Pirate. Pirate is very attached to Reynold. Anyways, we want to provide them with some safety. So we're exposing them to something brand new. They had not heard that soundtrack before. Now, of course, they have heard dogs barking because there are 7 adult dogs currently in the house, and they do bark whenever there's a delivery, which is regularly throughout most days. With somebody's coming or going, they bark. So there's lots of times the puppies have heard the dogs bark, but those are our dogs and they are used to their voices. Plus they're a little bit further away from them. So playing that soundtrack and turning it up, we turn the volume up until we see them start to go, oh, and rush towards me. Once that happens, we back it off. Now, if we were doing the whole session as we would normally, I would have just had Reynold back it off 2 degrees until they felt comfortable enough to walk around on their own again. And then we would gradually move it up. And if today wasn't the day where they were comfortable with it being moved up, then we wouldn't worry about it. We would just leave it where it was. It's also really key that these sessions are very short. Puppies are they are sponges, but they have a short attention span and their capacity to handle new things is limited. So it's really important you don't overload them with anything, whether it's good or bad. You want to make sure that you're taking time and you're letting them still just be dogs and just live life. So you saw that they all were cuddling up here with me. Right now they're all moving into the really interacting with people time. So this is now when we have to spend far more time with them than we have been previously. And one of the other reasons Juniper has left and was hiding her milk bar is they all have teeth. They are quite sharp. They will remain sharp for 6 months until they lose those sharp, razor sharp piranha baby teeth and get their adult teeth in. So right now I can still come in without anything on my feet, but by next week I will not be able to be in here without something on my feet because they will be able to actually break the skin if they're chewing on my legs. So that leads me to the next thing we're doing with desensitization, getting these puppies to be nice, relaxed, calm puppies, and that's providing them with the appropriate toys. Now, we've talked about that a bit in the past. This toy, it is one of the things you might get in your puppy starter kit. This is a really good example of a toy that can go across all of the ages. So there's a rope, as you can see at the end, inside this fluffy thing here. So it is not tied really tightly. It's a larger, looser rope. So they can actually get their teeth into there and get some satisfaction from their teething pain. They can go in and it gnaws through onto their teeth. It goes onto their gums and it helps to soothe that teething pain. And then up here we have a little bit of a woven texture. There's a very hard part right here. They cannot manage this part here, But this part with the squeaker, another thing to desensitize them to, it's also soft. So if they're not quite in the mood for soothing their teething pains with this rope contraption, they can chew on these ears. It's got some soft insides. Oh, you can see Juniper came back in because look, they've all left me, Reynold. If you might want to just move the camera to follow the puppies, thanks. And you can see she's far more popular than I am. So that's what we do with the different toys. And now when you take your puppy home and in your puppy starter kit, and then going forward when you are buying your treats and your food from Curated Canines after you have your puppy home, these are the things you want to keep in mind. How to soothe your puppy's teething pain is one of the most important things you'll do for the first 6 months, because that also will help them chew things that are appropriate and be comfortable and not be having to feel like they have to eat your furniture or chew on your clothing. So one of the best ways to soothe your puppy's teething pain with not a toy is with a chicken neck. And once the puppies are old enough to start eating bones, we will do a video and show you the puppies eating their chicken necks and go through a little bit more about how important chicken necks are for your puppies and how it is really key to soothe their teething pains. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. It is our last one before the holidays. If you celebrate Christmas, we hope you have a really Merry Christmas with friends and family nearby. If you don't celebrate Christmas, celebrate having at least one extra day off, if not 2 or 3. And know that your puppies are all going to have a very special Christmas morning. We will be here with them, or Reynold won't be, but I will be. And of course, even though it's Christmas Day, I will still be here with them all day, and we will continue to do desensitization and get them ready for your family visit on December 30th. So we hope you enjoyed today's video. We hope you learned something from it, and we hope you have a moment that you can post a comment or ask a question, as that is very much appreciated by us and very helpful. And we also hope if you might give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, please. And we are excited to see you on December 30th for the family visit, and look forward to seeing you for our next video update. Thanks so much for watching. You're so tough. I do so tough.